My name is Luna, and this is the story of how my mother tried to destroy my future, how I lost everything in a single night, and how I built an empire from the ashes of her betrayal. I was 19 years old when my world ended. Not gradually. Not with warning signs I could have heeded. It ended in one explosive moment that shattered everything I thought I knew about my family. Let me set the scene for you. We lived in a mid-sized town in Georgia, the kind of place where everyone knows everyone's business and your reputation follows you like a shadow. My mother, Patricia, but everyone called her Patty, ran a successful catering and event planning business. Weddings, corporate functions, charity galas. She was the queen of our town's social scene, and she wore that crown with ruthless pride. My stepfather, Rick, was her silent partner in every sense. He'd married into the business when I was 12, and he perfected the art of agreeing with whatever my mother said. I had a stepsister too, Vanessa, Rick's daughter from his first marriage. She was 3 years older than me and had taken to the family business like she was born for it. Charismatic, social, effortlessly charming. Everything my mother wanted. And then there was me. I was the anomaly. The girl who'd rather spend her weekend coding in her room than schmoozing at garden parties. The daughter who dreamed in algorithms and Python instead of buttercream frosting and seating arrangements. For years, my mother tolerated this. She'd roll her eyes when I brought up computer science programs. She'd make passive-aggressive comments about wasting my potential when I spent nights teaching myself web development. But she tolerated it. Until the letter arrived. I remember that day with crystal clarity. It was March, and I'd been obsessively checking my email for weeks. I'd applied to a prestigious accelerated tech program in Austin, a 2-year intensive course that would fast-track me into software development. Full scholarship. Housing included. A guaranteed internship pipeline to major tech companies. It was everything I'd ever wanted. Everything I'd worked for in secret, knowing my mother would never approve. The acceptance email came on a Tuesday morning. I was in my room, hands shaking as I read the words, "Congratulations, Luna Martinez. We are thrilled to offer you." I actually cried. Not sad tears. Pure, overwhelming joy. For the first time in my life, someone saw my potential. Someone believed I could be more than my mother's shadow. I should have kept it to myself. God, I should have just packed my bags quietly and left. But I was 19 and stupid and desperate for my mother's approval, even though I'd never gotten it before. I printed the acceptance letter and walked downstairs to the kitchen where my mother was prepping for a client meeting. Vanessa was there too, scrolling through her phone, probably posting another perfectly curated photo for her social media. "Mom," I said, my voice trembling with excitement. "I have something to show you." She didn't even look up. "I'm busy, Luna. Unless someone died, it can wait." "It can't wait. This is important." I placed the letter on the counter in front of her. The silence that followed was deafening. I watched her eyes scan the page, watched her expression shift from confusion to understanding to something cold and hard that made my stomach drop. "No," she said simply. "What do you mean, no?" "I got accepted. Full scholarship. This is—" I said no. She picked up the letter, and for a moment, I thought she might read it more carefully. Instead, she crumpled it into a ball. "You're not going to Texas to waste your life playing with computers. You're staying here. You're going to community college for business management, and you're going to learn this company inside and out because one day you're going to help run it." "But I don't want to run a catering business." "Mom, this is my future. Your future is here." Her voice rose, and Vanessa finally looked up from her phone, eyes wide. "Do you have any idea how selfish you're being? I built this business from nothing. I gave you everything. And this is how you repay me. By abandoning your family." "I'm not abandoning anyone. Austin is only—" "You ungrateful, spoiled brat. She stood up, her face flushed with anger. I've sacrificed everything for you. And you want to throw it all away for some ridiculous fantasy. Rick appeared in the doorway, drawn by the shouting. What's going on? Your stepdaughter. My mother spat the word like it was poison. Thinks she's too good for this family. That's not true. I have dreams that don't involve wedding cakes and centerpieces. The slap came out of nowhere. One moment I was trying to explain, and the next, my head snapped to the side, my cheek burning. The kitchen went silent. I touched my face, shocked. My mother had never hit me before. Yelled, yes. Guilt-tripped, manipulated, belittled. Absolutely. But never physical violence. Get out, she said quietly. Too quietly. Mom. Get out of my house. She grabbed the acceptance letter and tore it to pieces, the sound of ripping paper obscenely loud in the silent kitchen. If you want to destroy your life, you can do it somewhere else. Pack your things. You have 1 hour. I looked at Rick, desperate. Please. He looked away. Of course he did. Vanessa was staring at her phone again, pretending this wasn't happening. I was alone. Have you ever had to pack your entire life into a single duffel bag while your hands shake so badly you can barely zip it closed? I grabbed clothes randomly. My laptop. Thank God I'd bought it with my own money from a summer job. Chargers. My journals. A photo album that didn't include my mother. 53 minutes later, I was standing on the front porch with nowhere to go. My mother watched from the doorway, arms crossed. One more thing, she said coldly. You're not taking the car. It's in my name. And your phone? My plan. Hand it over. You can't. Hand it over. I gave her the phone. What choice did I have? She took it and smiled, actually smiled. Good luck surviving out there, Luna. Let's see how far your big dreams take you without my support. The door slammed in my face. I stood there for a moment, duffel bag at my feet, trying to process what had just happened. I'd gone from having a mother, a home, a future, to having nothing in less than 2 hours. My friend Marcus lived 3 blocks away. We'd been friends since middle school, and his family had always been kind to me. With no other options, I walked to his house in the March drizzle, my duffel bag getting heavier with each step. Marcus's mom, Mrs. Chen, took one look at my face and pulled me inside. Luna, sweetheart, what happened? I broke down. Told her everything. She held me while I cried, and when I finally stopped, she said 5 words that saved my life. You can stay with us. The Chens gave me their guest room. Refused to take any money when I offered. Mrs. Chen even drove me to a discount phone store the next day and helped me set up a prepaid plan with my limited savings. But gratitude can't pay bills, and I knew I couldn't impose on them forever. I needed a job. Fast. The next week was a blur of applications. Coffee shops, retail stores, restaurants, anywhere that would hire someone with minimal experience and no references. Most places ignored me. Some called for interviews and then ghosted. Finally, a 24-hour diner called the Night Owl offered me a position. Graveyard shift, minimum wage, no benefits. I took it immediately. My first night was brutal. I'd never waitressed before, and the learning curve was steep. Burned coffee. Mixed up orders. A customer who threw his eggs in my face because they were too runny. My feet ached. My back screamed. I smelled like grease and desperation. But I made $47 in tips, and I'd never been more proud of money in my life. I worked 6 nights a week at the Night Owl. During the day, I tried to figure out my next move. The Austin program had moved on. They'd filled my spot within 48 hours of my mother destroying the acceptance letter. But I still had my email correspondence with them. Proof I'd been accepted. And I had an idea forming, dangerous, and desperate. I researched emancipation laws in Georgia, looked into financial aid options for estranged students. The federal system had a process for students whose parents refused to provide tax information for financial aid, a dependency override. It required documentation, proof of the abusive situation, witness statements. I contacted my high school counselor, Ms. Rodriguez. She'd always been supportive, and she'd seen the bruises on my arms from when my mother had grabbed me during an argument sophomore year. Ms. Rodriguez agreed to write a statement. So did Marcus and his mother. But I needed more. I needed something concrete, something undeniable. That's when I made a choice that would change everything. I went back to my mother's house. It was a Saturday afternoon when I returned. I knew my mother would be out. She had a client showcase at the county fairgrounds. Vanessa would be there too, playing the perfect daughter. Rick would be home, but Rick was predictable. He'd be in his study, door closed, pretending the outside world didn't exist. I used the key I'd hidden in the garden years ago, one my mother didn't know about. My hands shook as I unlocked the back door and slipped inside. The house was silent. Eerily so. I moved quickly, heading straight for my mother's home office. If there was evidence of her controlling behavior, her financial manipulation, it would be there. Her file cabinet was locked, but I'd watched her open it 1,000 times. The key was hidden in a false bottom in her desk drawer. She thought she was so clever. Inside, I found a goldmine. My birth certificate, social security card, medical records, all the documents I needed for financial aid. She'd locked them away deliberately, ensuring I couldn't leave. But there was more. I found a folder labeled Luna College Fund. My hands went numb as I opened it. Inside were bank statements. My grandmother, my father's mother, had passed away when I was 10. I barely remembered her, but apparently, she'd left me money. Specifically for college. $25,000, held in trust until I turned 18. I'd turned 18 over a year ago. I kept reading, my horror growing. The trust had specified the money was to be transferred to an account in my name, with my mother as custodian until I enrolled in college. Then it was mine completely. But my mother had never told me about it. More than that, she'd been making withdrawals. Living expenses for Luna, the notes said. Thousands of dollars. For what? I'd paid for my own laptop, my own school supplies, everything. My mother had been stealing from me. I took photos of everything with my phone. Every page. Every statement. Every forged signature where she'd claimed I'd authorized the withdrawals. Then I found something else. A letter from the Austin program, sent to our home address 6 months before my acceptance letter. It was an early notification. They'd wanted to interview me for a pre-acceptance scholarship opportunity worth an additional $10,000. My mother had never given it to me. She'd hidden it in her files, along with correspondence from 2 other programs I'd applied to. She'd been sabotaging me for months. The rage that filled me was white-hot and clarifying. This wasn't just a mother trying to keep her daughter close. This was deliberate, calculated destruction of my future. I was photographing the last document when I heard the front door open. My blood went cold. Can't believe she had the audacity to even ask. My mother's voice drifted from the hallway. These brides get more entitled every year. They were home early. I shoved the files back into the cabinet, locked it, returned the key. My heart was hammering so hard I thought it might burst through my chest. Footsteps in the hallway. Getting closer. I looked around frantically. The office had only one door, and it led to the hallway where I could hear my mother approaching. The window. Could I get out the window? I was halfway there when the door opened. My mother froze in the doorway. For a moment, we just stared at each other. Then her expression morphed into something terrifying. How dare you come back here? I just needed You broke into my house. That's trespassing.
Vanessa, call the police.
This is my home too.
And you stole from me.
The words exploded out of me. Grandma left me money for college and you took it. You've been sabotaging me for months. I have no idea what you're talking about. You're clearly unstable. Breaking in, making accusations. I have proof. I held up my phone. I photographed everything. The bank statements. The letters you hid.
All of it.
The color drained from her face. Give me that phone.
No.
Give me that phone. She lunged for me. I dodged, but she was faster than I expected. Her nails raked across my arm, drawing blood. We struggled, and she slammed me against the wall.
Mom, stop.
Vanessa appeared in the doorway, eyes wide. Get out of the way, Vanessa. Your sister is a thief and a liar, and I won't have her destroying this family.
She's not, Mom. You're hurting her.
Rick appeared behind Vanessa. Finally, he spoke up.
Patty, that's enough.
My mother turned on him, her face twisted with rage.
Don't you dare tell me what to do in my own house.
It's my house too. And if you don't let her go right now, I'm calling the police myself. Something in his tone must have gotten through, because my mother released me. I stumbled, catching myself on the desk.
Get out, she hissed.
And if you ever come back, I will have you arrested. I don't care what lies you've concocted. You are not my daughter anymore. I ran. That night, sitting in the Chen's guest room with bandages on my arm, I made a decision. I wasn't just going to escape my mother's control. I was going to make her answer for what she'd done. The next morning, I met with a lawyer. His name was James Park, and he specialized in family law. Marcus's mom had connected me with him. Apparently, his daughter went to school with Marcus. I showed him everything. The photos of the stolen money, the hidden letters, the documented pattern of control and abuse. This is good, he said, studying his computer screen. Really good, actually. You have a strong case for financial exploitation and fraud. The question is, what do you want out of this? I want my money back. And I want her to pay for what she did. He leaned back in his chair. Pursuing this legally will take time. Months, possibly. And it won't be easy. Your mother will fight back. Are you prepared for that? I thought about the acceptance letter torn to pieces. The phone taken away. The slap across my face. The money stolen. The future denied. I'm prepared, I said. Then let's get started. The first step was filing a police report for the assault. The scratches on my arm were photographed. Mrs. Chen provided a witness statement about my condition when I arrived at her house. Next, we filed a civil suit for the stolen trust fund money. The evidence was overwhelming. My mother had violated the terms of the trust and committed fraud. But here's what I didn't expect. The Austin program reached out to me. Apparently, they'd been trying to contact me at my old address and phone number. When I finally responded from my new email, explaining what had happened, the admissions director personally called me. Luna, we don't tolerate family members sabotaging our students' futures. Your spot is still available if you want it. We'll defer your start date to give you time to handle this legal situation. I cried on that phone call. Actual sobs of relief. They also connected me with their legal resources office, which provided additional documentation about the educational interference. Apparently, it could be considered a form of financial abuse. The case built momentum. My lawyer subpoenaed my mother's bank records. We found more irregularities. She'd taken out a credit card in my name when I was 17, maxed it out, and never paid it off. My credit was destroyed before I'd even known what credit was. This added identity theft to the charges. My mother fought back exactly as predicted. Her lawyer painted me as an ungrateful runaway who'd fabricated evidence. She claimed the trust fund money had been spent on my expensive needs growing up. She denied hiding any letters. But the paper trail didn't lie. During this time, I couldn't afford to put my life on hold. I kept working at the Night Owl. I enrolled in online courses through the local community college, computer science fundamentals, programming, web development. And I started freelancing. It began small. A website for Marcus's mom's friend who ran a bakery. $200. Then a logo design for a local gym. $150. Word spread, and suddenly I was getting inquiries. I worked every spare moment. Diner shift until 7 a.m., sleep until 2 p.m., client work and online courses until 10 p.m., repeat. It was exhausting. I lived on coffee and determination. But slowly, painfully, I was building something. 6 months after I'd left my mother's house, the civil case went to mediation. My lawyer was confident. The evidence was too strong, and my mother's lawyer knew it. We sat in a conference room, my mother on one side with her legal team, me on the other with Mr. Park. She wouldn't look at me. Kept her eyes on the table, jaw clenched. My client is prepared to offer a settlement, her lawyer said. Full repayment of the trust fund, plus documented expenses. We're talking approximately $28,000. That doesn't cover the credit card debt she fraudulently opened in my client's name, Mr. Park said, or the additional scholarship money Luna lost because of the hidden correspondence, or the emotional damages. My client disputes. Your client committed fraud and identity theft. We have bank records, email correspondence, and witness testimony. If this goes to trial, she won't just lose money. She could face criminal charges. The room went silent. My mother's lawyer whispered something to her. She shook her head violently. More whispering. Finally she spoke, her voice tight with suppressed rage. Fine. $42,000. Full settlement. But she signs an NDA. No talking to press, no social media posts, nothing. No, I said. Everyone turned to look at me. No NDA. I want the right to tell my story if I choose. And I want $50,000. 25 for the original trust. 10 for the credit card and repair fees. 15 for pain and suffering. That's ridiculous. Take it or leave it, I said, meeting my mother's eyes for the first time. We both know what a trial will cost you. Not just money, reputation. How will your precious clients react when they find out you stole from your own daughter? I saw the moment she broke. The calculation in her eyes. The realization that she'd lost. Fine. The settlement check cleared 3 weeks later. $50,000 in my account, every penny of it legally mine. I paid the Chen's rent for the months I'd stayed with them, even though they protested. I paid off the credit card debt. I bought a reliable used car. And I saved the rest. The Austin program's start date was approaching. I was finally going to get the education I'd fought for. But something had shifted in me during those 6 months of fighting. I discovered I didn't need traditional paths. I'd built a freelance portfolio while working full-time and handling a lawsuit. I taught myself skills that took some people years to learn. And my freelance work had grown. I had steady clients now. Enough income to match what I'd make in an entry-level position after graduating. So I made a different choice. I attended the Austin program, but I didn't stop freelancing. I turned my side hustle into a legitimate business, Luna Solutions. Website design, brand development, digital marketing for small businesses. The program gave me structure and credentials, but my business gave me real-world experience and income. I worked like I'd never worked before. Between classes and client projects, I slept maybe 4 hours a night. But it didn't feel like drowning anymore. It felt like flying. My business grew. I hired my first subcontractor, a graphic designer I'd met through the program. Then a copywriter. Then a social media manager. By the time I graduated 2 years later, Luna Solutions had 12 clients on monthly retainers and 3 employees. I was 21 years old and running a profitable business. The next 3 years were a blur of growth. I moved to a real office space, hired more staff, expanded services into app development and consulting. We landed major clients, regional restaurant chains, healthcare providers, a state government contract. I'd gone from serving coffee at the Night Owl to running a company with 23 employees and annual revenue in the 7 figures. And through it all, I never contacted my mother. Never looked back. Until the day Vanessa called me. I was in my office, reviewing a proposal for a new client, when my assistant buzzed. "There's a Vanessa Martinez on line 2. She says she's your sister." Stepsister, I thought automatically. But I took the call. "Luna." Vanessa's voice was tentative. I got your number from Marcus. I hope that's okay." "What do you want, Vanessa?" "I need to talk to you. About Mom. About the business. Can we meet, please?" Against my better judgment, I agreed. We met at a coffee shop downtown. Vanessa looked tired, older than her 28 years. The sparkle that used to define her was gone. "Thank you for coming," she said when I sat down. "I wasn't sure you would. You have 10 minutes. She took a deep breath. "The business is failing. Has been for about a year now. Mom, she's been making terrible decisions, alienating clients. The staff has been quitting. We're drowning in debt." "And you're telling me this because?" "Because she's sick, Luna. She had a stroke 6 months ago. She can barely run the business anymore, but she won't let go of control. Dad, Rick, he's doing his best, but he doesn't have the skills. And I." She looked down at her hands. "I don't either. Not really. I've been faking it for years, pretending I knew what I was doing because it's what she wanted. Vanessa, I'm sorry she's sick, but I don't understand why you're here." "I'm here because I need to apologize." She looked up, and there were tears in her eyes. "For not standing up for you. For sitting there on my phone while she hit you and kicked you out. For enabling her treatment of you for years. I was a coward, and I'm sorry." The apology I'd never expected hit me harder than I anticipated. "Okay," I said quietly. "And I'm here because I want to hire you." I blinked. "What?" "Luna Solutions. You do business consulting, right? The company needs help. Desperately. Mom won't listen to me, but she can't ignore an outside consultant. Especially one as successful as you've become." She paused. "I can't pay much. We're barely making payroll. But I can give you equity, a percentage of the business. And if we turn it around, it could be worth something." "You want me to save your mother's company." "I want you to save my family's livelihood. And maybe give me a chance to make things right." I should have said no. Should have walked away and never looked back. But here's the thing about me. I've never been able to resist a challenge. "I'll look at the books," I said. No promises. The night garden catering and events was in worse shape than Vanessa had let on. Revenue had dropped 60% over 3 years. They owed money to vendors, the IRS, and had maxed out business credit lines. The client database was a mess. Their marketing was stuck in 2015, and their operations were hemorrhaging money through sheer inefficiency. But the core business model was sound. They had name recognition, a few loyal clients, and the infrastructure was there if someone competent took control. I presented my findings to Vanessa, Rick, and my mother in the same conference room where I'd negotiated my settlement 3.5 years earlier. My mother looked smaller than I remembered. The stroke had left one side of her face slightly drooped, and she moved slowly, carefully. But her eyes were still sharp, still calculating. "This business is dead without major intervention," I said, pulling no punches. "You need a complete overhaul. Operations, marketing, financial management, everything. And I suppose you're going to charge us a fortune for this consultation," my mother said, her words slightly slurred but dripping with venom. "Actually, no. I'm going to make you an offer." I slid a document across the table. "I will personally invest $200,000 in the business. I will restructure operations and implement a 5-year turnaround plan. In exchange, I want 60% ownership." The room erupted. "Absolutely not," my mother shouted. "This is my business." "This is a failing business that will be bankrupt in 8 months, I said calmly. "I'm offering you a lifeline. Take it or don't." "You can't. This is extortion." "It's a business proposition. You don't have to accept." I stood up. "But this offer expires in 48 hours. After that, you're on your own." I walked out, leaving them in chaos. 36 hours later, Vanessa called. She accepted. Rick convinced her. He said it was this or lose everything. Smart man. "Luna, thank you." "Don't thank me yet. This is going to be brutal." And it was. I brought in my team from Luna Solutions. We digitized everything, implemented new software systems, negotiated with creditors, rebuilt the marketing from the ground up. I personally contacted old clients and repaired relationships my mother had damaged. It took 18 months of 16-hour days, but slowly, painfully, the business stabilized. Revenue climbed. We hired back staff, paid off debts, started turning a profit. And through it all, my mother watched from the sidelines, stripped of control, forced to see her daughter succeed where she had failed. I won't lie and say it was satisfying. Mostly it was exhausting. But there was a certain poetry to it. The daughter she'd tried to destroy was now the one saving her legacy. Epilogue. Flying away, 48:00-50:00. 2 years after taking over the night garden, I made another decision. Luna Solutions had grown beyond my wildest dreams. We'd opened offices in 3 cities. Our client roster included Fortune 500 companies. And we just secured series of funding. Investors had valued my company at $15 million. Part of that funding went toward buying a small aircraft for business travel. A 6-seater plane that would let me efficiently visit our different offices and client sites. The day I took delivery of that plane, I posted a photo on my professional social media. Just the aircraft with the Luna Solutions logo on the tail. Caption: New tools for new heights. Grateful for every challenge that taught me to fly. I didn't tag anyone, didn't mention my past, but I knew Vanessa followed my business account, which meant I knew my mother would see it. And the thing is, I didn't post it for revenge. I posted it because it was true. I had learned to fly. Not despite everything my mother had done to me, but through the resilience her cruelty had forced me to develop. Would I have preferred a loving, supportive family? Of course. But that wasn't the hand I was dealt. So I played the cards I had. And I played them well. The last time I saw my mother was at a night garden company event 6 months ago. She was seated at a table, watching the staff she no longer controlled celebrate successes she hadn't created. I walked past her table on my way out, and for a brief moment, our eyes met. I didn't say anything. Didn't need to. Everything I needed to say was written in my success, my independence, and the fact that I'd built a life so far beyond her control that she couldn't even imagine it. Some people say I should forgive her. That holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. But here's what those people don't understand. I'm not holding on to anger. I'm holding on to boundaries. There's a difference. I don't hate my mother anymore. I don't love her either. She's just someone I used to know. Someone who tried to clip my wings before I learned how to use them. And now, when people ask me how I built Luna Solutions from nothing, I tell them the truth. I had no choice. When someone takes away every option except fighting or giving up, you learn to fight better than you ever thought possible. My mother kicked me out for choosing my own path. And then she had to watch me fly away. Not just fly, soar. I'm 26 now. I run 2 successful companies. I mentor young women trying to break into tech. I speak at conferences about overcoming adversity and building businesses without traditional support systems. And sometimes, when I'm in my plane, flying between cities, working on my laptop at 35,000 feet, I think about that 19-year-old girl standing on a porch in the rain with a duffel bag and no phone. I think about how scared she was, how lost, how certain that her life was over. And I wish I could tell her, this is just the beginning. The best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's building a life so complete, so successful, so utterly yours that the people who try to destroy you become irrelevant. My mother didn't give me wings. She tried to break them. But what she didn't understand is that sometimes the breaking is what teaches you how strong you really are. And once you learn that, nobody can stop you from flying. So that's my story. The story of how I lost everything and gained myself. How I turned betrayal into business acumen and pain into purpose. If you're out there right now, dealing with family who doesn't support you, who tries to control your future, who makes you feel small, hear me, you are not trapped. You are not powerless. And you are not defined by their limitations. The path forward might be brutal. You might have to build your life from absolute zero. But you can do it. I know you can. Because if a 19-year-old girl with $50 and a dream could do it, so can you. Choose your own path. Even when they tell you it's impossible. Especially when they tell you it's impossible. Because the view from up here? It's worth every single fight to get here. This is Luna, and thank you for listening to my story. Now go write yours.